Yeah, hello, it's Martin here from Free Radio Swindon, the most incompetent broadcaster in England, because I forgot to put my microphone on. I can't be bothered to do it again, because I've done it about fucking 4 times. Now, this is an interview between the most trusted man in Britain, John Humphreys, and the least trusted woman in Britain, Theresa May. Shall I start again? No. Theresa May. Right, okay, I'll mute up and fuck off.
In 5 days from now, MPs will vote on the Brexit deal, the vote that will not only decide Britain's future in Europe, but the future of the Prime Minister. It has already precipitated a constitutional crisis in Parliament. Theresa May lost 3 important votes in a matter of hours on Tuesday. And she will lose again next Tuesday on the crucial vote, or so the parliamentary arithmetic tells us. That is the vote on the deal that she spent the last couple of years negotiating with the EU. The deal that spells out the terms of our withdrawal from Europe. And then what? Well, Mrs May is with me. Good morning, Prime Minister.
Good morning, John.
Now, I said the vote on Tuesday, but I read this morning that many of your cabinet ministers, or at least some of them, are saying we must delay the vote. Is there anything in that?
We're going to have. We're in the middle of 5 days of debate in Parliament, which will lead up to a vote on this issue. And if I may, John, in your introduction there, you said that what people are voting on is our withdrawal from the European Union. They're voting on the deal that I've negotiated. And this is a good deal for the UK because it's got 2 parts to it. And this is why I wanted to pick your point up. Part of it is about the withdrawal from the European Union, but the other part is about our future and our future relationship with the European Union. What this deal does is it delivers on the referendum. It delivers on sovereignty by ensuring the Court of Justice doesn't have jurisdiction in the UK anymore. It delivers on not sending vast sums of money to the EU every year. It delivers on an end to free movement. But the reason you asked the question about Parliament is because there are concerns about part of that withdrawal bit of the deal, which is what's come to be called the backstop. And I recognise that there are those concerns, but there are just 2 points, if I may, to make about this. First of all, any deal, any agreement, any arrangement that we came to with the European Union would involve a backstop. So people talk about let's have a Norway or let's have a Canada. Everything involves a backstop. And secondly, none of the other arrangements that people have put forward fully deliver on the referendum. This deal delivers on the referendum.
All right, let's pick up on some of that in a moment. But let's go back to my original question. Is there any possibility, have you even considered, has it been recommended to you that you, one way or the other, delay the vote happening next Tuesday evening?
No, what we're doing at the moment, John, is...
I know what you're doing, and I'm just wondering whether it's possible that you might delay it.
No, what I'm saying is, what I'm doing is leading up to a vote on Tuesday.
No, I understand that.
Because we're having the debate. Yes, I'm meeting colleagues, I'm listening to colleagues' concerns.
About this particular issue, about delaying it?
Well, no, not about delaying it. But I'm listening to colleagues' concerns around this issue, this aspect of our withdrawal, which is the backstop. Now, the backstop is our guarantee to the people of Northern Ireland. It's a guarantee about not having a hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland. But I recognise there are concerns from colleagues about the role of Parliament, about the sovereignty of the UK in relation to that issue. So I'm talking to colleagues about how Parliament might have and how we can look at Parliament having a role in the going into that and if you like, and the coming out of
Well,
that.
Parliament's already decided for itself that it will have a role. The question really is what you can offer Parliament now that you haven't already offered them to satisfy them, because you don't have the support in Parliament, as you very well know at the moment, to get it through.
Oh, I think you said Parliament has made its view on its role clear. No, that's what this debate and the vote is about, Parliament looking at this deal. And
Parliament, well, just for the benefit of the listeners, Parliament has basically said, hasn't it, if you fail, then Parliament takes over.
Now, there have been some attempts to, and there are continuing, if you look at some of the proposals that have been put forward in relation to amendments to the vote next week, attempts to take off the table certain possibilities. But actually there are 3 options here. As we go ahead, there are 3 options. One is to leave the European Union with a deal. I've negotiated a deal. The EU have made it clear it's the deal. But it's not just the deal, it's a good deal, and it's a deal that delivers on the referendum.
The problem with that deal is that you haven't sold it to Parliament.
Sorry, John, I said there were three options.
All right,
let me talk about one of them. If I can remind everybody what the other two are, because the other two are that we leave without a deal, or that we have no Brexit at all. And I'm absolutely clear that we have a duty to deliver on the vote of the British people in 2016, and that was a vote in the referendum to leave the EU.
And the problem with that is that you are unable, have been unable thus far, and there's no reason to suspect that it's going to change in the next few days, unable to sell it to Parliament, or at least to enough MPs to carry it on Tuesday evening.
Well, we haven't actually had the vote yet,
No,
John.
that's true, but you can do the arithmetic as well as I can.
But when it comes to that vote, I think what MPs will be thinking of, as I say, there are three options that are available to people. One is that we leave the EU with a deal, and this is a good deal, and it does deliver on the referendum, or that we have no deal. And, you know, there are some people who say, well, let's take no deal off the table. But actually, the only way to take no deal off the table is to have a deal and to agree the deal. Some, and there are some, if you listen to the debate that takes place in Parliament, if you've listened to the many questions I've been asked in Parliament at PMQs and when I made statements to the House of Commons on this issue, it's clear that there are those in the House of Commons who want to frustrate Brexit. I think actually the opposition are doing that. The opposition are just trying to...
and many of your own colleagues,
Brexit.
Of course.
No, but there are those who also want to frustrate Brexit and overturn the vote of the British people. That's not right.
Can you, should you, are you thinking of giving them a separate vote on the backstop? Is that feasible?
The backstop is an integral part of the withdrawal.
So you can't separate it. That cannot be done.
As I said earlier, the backstop's an integral part of the withdrawal agreement, but the backstop would be an integral part of any withdrawal agreement and of any deal that was negotiated with the European Union. And that's because we are committed, yes, the EU concerned from the point of view of, obviously, Ireland's a member of the EU, but we're committed to delivering for the people of Northern Ireland. They're part of the UK.
The problem is you have not been able, and I've said this before in this interview, you have not been able to persuade enough of your colleagues in Parliament, in your own party and in the opposition, that it is the right deal. Therefore, it is highly likely, inevitable, many people believe, that on Tuesday night it will be voted down. Do you have any sort of plan B if, some people say when, that happens?
Well, as I've already explained, there are three
Indeed
options
you have.
that people
Indeed
look at.
you have.
Three options that people can look at.
Yep.
And actually, I think the question, that question is not for me. That question is for those who say that they want to oppose this deal. What are the...
You're saying back me or sack me then, in effect, aren't you?
That question is for those who want to oppose this deal, because the options are there. There's a deal, no deal, or no Brexit. And I think, my view is that it is our, I've used the words duty, we've had an instruction from the British people to deliver on Brexit. And I think, the worst thing that could happen from the public's point of view is that we have all these arguments in Westminster, not about whether we're going to leave, we've had the referendum, but about the exact details of how we leave. And the risk is that we end up with no Brexit at all. Now, I'm clear that that should not happen. I'm clear that we must deliver on that vote. I'm clear that we will leave the European Union.
The problem is...
We've got a good deal for leaving the European Union.
Well, that's where people disagree with you. People like, well, let me give you a few quotes. You've heard them many times before. Lord King talking about this being the result of incompetence of a high order, the worst of all worsts. Lord Howard, Michael Howard, former Conservative leader himself, the epitome of loyalty to party leaders over the years. He said he voted leave to take back control, but the deal does the opposite of this, and so on and so on. You've heard all of these points made over and over again, and it seems to some people that you're simply not listening.
No, John, I am listening, but if I may, this deal is in two parts. It's the withdrawal agreement, and it's the future relationship with the EU. The withdrawal is about how we come out of 45 years of membership of the European Union. The future relationship, the political declaration on the future relationship, is about where we will be as a country in the future, what our relationship with them will be in the future when we've left. And it's there, crucially, that exactly the points that you've just quoted at me, we make absolutely clear that we take back our sovereignty. We will be, in that future relationship, laws will be determined in our Parliament and in devolved administrations.
But your
Laws
own
will be
Attorney
determined
General,
and laws
Geoffrey
will be-
Cox, has said, in effect, as a result of the backstop, you will not be taking back that control.
No, he hasn't said that. What he has said is, and we've been clear from the start on this, there is no unilateral right of pulling out of that backstop. Now, the backstop is something nobody wants to go into in the first place, and we will be working to make sure that we don't go into it. If we get to the point where it might be needed, we have a choice as to what we do. So we don't even have to go into the backstop at that point. So what we're talking about is something that is there to ensure our commitment to the people of Northern Ireland, that there isn't a hard border between them and the people of Ireland, that they can, I mean, what does that mean? It means they can carry on living their lives as they do today.
Except that the Attorney General himself, Geoffrey Cox, says about the legal advice, the withdrawal agreement cannot provide a legal means of compelling the EU to conclude such an agreement. That agreement being, we decide to leave. We can't because the law will not allow us to leave. It really is that simple, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've just said that. There is no unilateral right to withdraw from this.
Precisely. So therefore, in what sense are we
United
reclaiming
Kingdom.
our sovereignty in that respect? We're not.
But this is focusing on the backstop and the concern, and I recognise
To
the
acknowledge
concern
that
people
is the
have.
crucial part of it.
Everybody's focusing on the back. Well, that's a crucial part of the withdrawal agreement.
And before
But
you
this
get,
does
you've got to
not-
get the withdrawal agreement.
this
You don't
does
get
not-
anything else. That's the point.
No, this does not set up. You said before we get the withdrawal agreement, we don't get anything else. Actually, what we've done is negotiated, if you like, the set of instructions to the negotiators for the legal text for the future relationship. This is very important. We can't
That's a bit
do-
legalistic, all of that, isn't it? The fact is you have to have an agreement from the members of Parliament on the, specifically, as part of the package, as it were, as part of your deal, on the backstop arrangement. They will not give you that. That is a reality. Put aside the legality of it. That is the reality.
We have. You're right. We have to ratify the withdrawal agreement. It's an international treaty.
And they're
we have
not
to
going to.
ratify that.
They're not going to do it.
But it's not just. The withdrawal agreement that MPs will be looking at. They'll be looking at the future as well. And yes, there's been a lot of
One step at a
discussion.
time, Prime Minister.
No, well, it's both come together, John.
Well, no, they don't, do they? Because
yes,
you've
they
already
do.
acknowledged that you've got to have the withdrawal agreement before you can go anywhere else. I mean, that is the prerequisite. And if you fail, well, let me frame the question in a different way. I mentioned Plan B. You've heard that many, many times. People have said to you, what is the Plan B? You must have given a great deal of thought to what happens in the end if you cannot get your deal through Parliament. Have you given a lot of thought to that? And give us a clue what it might be, what the Plan B might be.
John, what I'm focused on is the deal that we've negotiated with the European Union, which does deliver on the referendum. It does it in a way that protects people's jobs and protects our security for the future. You talk about the separate bits of this. Actually, what MPs will be voting on is the whole package. We'll be voting on the withdrawal agreement, but alongside that withdrawal agreement is a political declaration that sets out our future relationship with Europe.
That's a separate matter from the point of view of the MPs. That is a separate matter.
But it's an important...
Of course it is, but it's
an
separate
important
from
element of
this.
this, because for most people, actually, I think, for most people listening to this programme, what is going to make the difference between their lives in the future is going to be what relationship we have, what partnership we have with Europe going forward.
Of course.
Now, what we want, what I've negotiated, what the deal delivers, is a partnership which is continuing a good, friendly relationship with Europe, able to trade with them easily, able to secure our security and cooperation with them, but also enables us to do good trade deals around the rest of the world and really stand up as global.
Yeah, I've had enough of that. What we got here is a battle between a professional broadcaster of the old school with integrity and a professional politician who you can tell when she's lying because her fucking mouth moves. Radio Free Swindon. Signing off. Who do the people having their cup of tea in the morning in England trust them more? John Humphrey's there.